Every single day, over 400 million M&Ms roll off factory lines around the world. But how did these tiny, colorful candies become a global icon? And what secrets lie inside those smooth, shiny shells? You've seen them. You've eaten them. Maybe you've even collected them. But you've never seen M&Ms like this. We're going behind the scenes of a billion-dollar candy empire, uncovering wartime origins, a closely guarded recipe, factory robots that never sleep, and marketing psychology so powerful it turned chocolate into a cultural conquest. This is the world of M&Ms like you've never imagined. The story of M&Ms doesn't begin in a candy store. It begins in a war zone. During the Spanish Civil War, soldiers carried tiny chocolate pellets coated in sugar, candy that could survive the heat. Watching from the sidelines was Forrest, Mars Sr., the estranged son of the Mars candy empire. In Europe, he saw an opportunity and took it. In the late 1930s, Forrest Mars Sr., the ambitious son of the Mars candy empire, noticed soldiers eating small chocolate pellets with a hardened shell, something that didn't melt in the sun. To get the chocolate supply he needed, Mars made a strategic deal. Bruce Murray, son of the president of Hershey's, joined forces. The result? A wartime partnership with a sugary twist M&M, Mars and Murray. A wartime alliance with a sweet agenda. With Mars holding 80% and Murray 20%, they named the candy M&Ms, honoring both founders. In 1941, M&Ms were born and reserved exclusively for U.S. troops. The candy-coated shell, a game changer. No melting, no mess. Combat-ready chocolate. Mars secured a patent on March 3, 1941, and production began in Newark, New Jersey. Designed for U.S. soldiers, M&Ms were tough enough to survive war zones and hot climates, without melting. After VE Day, M&Ms debuted in the commercial market, quickly gaining popularity thanks to returning GI nostalgia. When the war ended, so did the candy's secrecy. M&Ms hit American shelves and exploded in popularity. By 1950, every candy had a black M stamped on it, a tiny promise of quality. America was hooked, from battlefield necessity to family favorite. M&Ms exploded in popularity, but their journey was far from sweet and simple. The same year, Mars introduced the timeless slogan, "Melts in your mouth, not in your hand." This branding sealed their consumer appeal. Why was the red M&M banned for over a decade? And what made the peanut version a full-blown scandal? What happened next would shape the future of candy forever. The exact formula behind M&Ms is locked behind corporate vaults, one of the best-kept secrets in candy history. But what we do know is just enough to blow your mind. For over 80 years, the exact recipe of M&Ms has been one of the candy industry's most closely guarded secrets, protected by NDAs, vaults, and legacy. Only a handful of people on Earth know the full formula. What we can tell you: every M&M begins with a chocolate core, made from cocoa solids, milk powder, sugar, and emulsifiers. It's then encased in a hard shell, built up layer by layer, using a process called sugar panning, a centuries-old technique borrowed from apothecaries. The candy shell isn't poured, it's grown. M&Ms are tumbled in massive rotating drums as sugar syrup is sprayed on, dried, and layered again. Up to 20 coats later, a perfect snap, a flawless sheen. That signature shine? It comes from carnauba wax, the same natural wax used on luxury cars, bowling lanes, and even dental floss. Extracted from palm trees in Brazil, it's what makes each M&M gleam like a gemstone. Over the years, the core has evolved. Peanuts, pretzels, caramel, mint, brownie, fudge, even spicy jalapeno. And still, the M&M keeps its crunch, its shape, its mystery. But how do billions of these candies stay so perfectly uniform? Up next, we go inside the high-speed, zero-human touch system that stamps, scans, and sorts every single piece. The chocolate in every M&M starts thousands of miles away. Deep in the cacao belt of West Africa, where farmers harvest beans by hand. These beans are then fermented, dried, and shipped to be transformed into silky milk chocolate. The sugar, often from Brazilian cane fields. And that glossy finish, extracted from the leaves of a rare palm tree, where carnauba wax is gathered in sheets, dried, and purified. Every ingredient is tracked, tested, and verified before entering the M&M factory. A precision process you're about to witness for yourself. Welcome to one of the most advanced candy factories on the planet, a place so automated, no human hands ever touch the product. It begins with chocolate poured into mold trays. Each M&M starts as a single, perfect droplet. Machines do the work of pastry chefs, chemists, and engineers, all in seconds. Next, the candy shell. Built up over hours in these giant tumbling drums, sugar is added in micro-layers, spin, dry, spin again, until the outer shell forms that famous M&M crunch. Then comes the polish. A fine mist of natural wax gives M&Ms their iconic shine. Smooth enough to reflect light, durable enough to survive a jacket pocket, but don't blink, because now they're moving at lightning speed. Optical scanners inspect 10,000 M&Ms per minute. Off by just a fraction? Rejected instantly. Finally, the mark of approval. The tiny white EM. It's laser printed using food-grade ink, then sealed, boxed, and shipped to 100 countries around the world. And it all happens without missing a beat. But even as billions roll out each year, there's more to this candy empire than meets the eye. You think you know M&Ms, but did you know this candy-coated legend has a few secrets it's never advertised? The red M&M. It was banned in the 1970s due to fears over red dye number 2, even though M&Ms never used it. But public panic was so intense, Mars pulled it anyway. The blue M&M didn't exist until 1995, and it only joined after a nationwide vote. Americans chose blue over pink, aqua, and purple. By popular demand, M&Ms have been to war and to space. They were standard military rations in Vietnam, and astronauts took them aboard the space shuttle in the 80s. Peanut M&Ms, a scandal in their own right. Early batches weren't always screened for allergies, sparking lawsuits that forced Mars to redesign factory protocols. Today, M&Ms exist in over 100 countries, in flavors most Americans have never seen. But what made this tiny candy a global billion-dollar empire? Which fact surprised you the most? Comment below. In 1954, M&Ms launched a single line that changed candy forever. Melts in your mouth, not in your hand.
M&Ms, the milk chocolate melts in your mouth, not in your hand.
Simple, sticky, and 100% true. It wasn't just catchy, it was a technical truth. The hard candy shell solved chocolate's biggest flaw, melting. This slogan did what few brands ever manage. It taught consumers how to think about the product. Durable, convenient, shareable, and clean. In the 90s, Mars played its next masterstroke, giving colors personalities. Red, sarcastic leader. Yellow, lovable doofus. Green, confident and iconic. These weren't just mascots. They became emotional access points. The M&M characters weren't background players. They were the ad. Their humor, voices, and flaws made them relatable. And that's why, for over a decade, M&Ms ranked in the top 5 most popular Super Bowl ads again and again. And then came the physical takeover, M&M's World, a full-blown candy theme park, giant statues, touch-screen customization, tourists spending $100 on branded merch. All in the name of sugar-coated fun. What's more impressive? M&Ms didn't just export the brand, it translated it, adapting humor and voiceovers to match local cultures, while keeping that unmistakable M&M personality. From post-war snack to meme-worthy icon, M&Ms didn't just make chocolate. They mastered the art of identity, and gave color, character, and comedy to the candy aisle. M&Ms didn't just advertise, they infiltrated culture. Billboards, blockbusters, even a full-blown retail theme park in the heart of Manhattan. And every few years, a viral moment. M&M's ads consistently rank among the top 5 most loved Super Bowl commercials, beating brands with 10x the budget. Even globally, the brand flexes, adapting packaging, mascots, and humor to fit local tastes, without ever losing the core identity. Which M&M mascot do you relate to the most? Red, yellow, or green? Comment below and tell us why. Every single day, over 400 million M&Ms roll off production lines. That's more than the population of the United States, in chocolate. But what does it take to fuel a candy empire at this scale? Mars Inc., M&M's parent company, employs over 140,000 people worldwide, from machine operators in Kansas, to flavor scientists in Switzerland, to marketing teams shaping campaigns from New York to Dubai. But not everything is sweet. Most of the world's cocoa still comes from West Africa, a region plagued by poverty, deforestation, and child labor. M&M's success is built on a complex supply chain, and critics say it hasn't always been transparent. In response, Mars has pledged $1 billion towards sustainable sourcing, aiming for 100% traceable cocoa and empowering farmers with better income models. But with a supply chain this vast, the results are still unfolding. Beyond candy, Mars is a silent global force, influencing trade, agriculture, labor policy, and even diplomacy. So next time you pop a handful of M&Ms, you're not just eating chocolate, you're tasting the economics of a global machine. From battlefield rations to billion-dollar branding, from candy-coated shells to cultural icons, M&Ms are more than just a snack. They're a symbol of how small things can leave a massive mark. So next time you open a pack, look closer. You're holding 80 years of history, chemistry, culture, and maybe even a few secrets Mars still hasn't told us. Like this deep dive, hit like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Because this isn't the last candy mystery we'll unwrap. Got a theory, a memory, or your own M&M story? Drop it in the comments. We read everything.